Oh, okay. My opponent's ready. Okay. My judge is ready. Is my timer ready? Is the camera ready?
Yes.
Okay. Lots of popular college sports such as football and basketball generate hundreds of millions of dollars every year for schools, coaches, television networks, and the NCAA. Athletes who play these sports are not allowed to receive any of that money due to the NCAA rules, which considers student athletes as amateurs. My first assertion is college athletes should get compensated because amateurism is outdated. According to the NCAA, amateurs are not given any compensation outside of scholarships. In the NCAA, athletes are considered amateurs but are required to perform and practice at a professional level while risking their chances at a career-ending injury. Also, while being considered an amateur, athletes are not allowed to be endorsed or compensated by any type of company or person according to NCAA.org, as then it would consider them professionals. Sports Illustrated commentator Frank Ford argues, since the Olympics freed its athletes from the serfdom of amateurism, the only place on the face of the earth where sports are still big time, big money, but where athletes are forced to play without pay is our American college, football, and basketball leagues. Everywhere else, there is money involved, and athletes get their fair share and compensation, just like the coaches and promoters and television networks, and all the way down to the guys who sell peanuts and popcorn and illegal t-shirts outside. My second assertion is about student athletes and career-ending injuries. One of the best aspects of college sports is the players' enthusiasm. Their love and passion for the sport is admirable, but there's a downside to this. They can suffer serious injuries and sometimes injuries that can prematurely end their career. Besides the fact that a career-ending injury will stop their college scholarship, these college athletes put their bodies at risk of permanent damage without being paid. Injuries such as hurting a knee might have them limping for the rest of their life, or concussions that can cause dementia and depression. Those college athletes that put their bodies on the line during each training session or during a game they play deserve to be paid for the health risk they are taking. My third assertion is about black athletes. Graduation rates lag at U.S. universities with top sports teams. USC Sean R. Harper finds that among 65 leading universities, black male athletes continue to graduate at lower rates than other student athletes, black non-athletes, and undergraduates in general. Harper examined graduation rates and representation rates inequities within the so-called Power 5 conferences, the Atlantic Coast, Big Ten, Big 12, Pac-12, and Southeastern conferences. Those conferences, spanning 65 universities in total, represent the most dominant and competitive schools in the NCAA Division I sports, and thus Harper said, the most likely to demonstrate problematic trends relating to African American male student athletes. Black men made up 2.4% of the undergraduate population at Power 5 schools, but comprised 55% of their football teams and 56% of their men's basketball teams. The report shows that just over 55% of black male student athletes graduated within 6 years, compared with 60% of all black undergraduate men, 69.3% of all student athletes, and 73.6% of all undergraduate students. The NCAA should allow college athletes to be compensated and declare them professional athletes. Thank you.
My opponent's ready. My judge is ready. Is my timer ready? Is the camera ready? Okay. The National College Athletic Association, or NCAA, is an organization created to support collegiate student athletes. The NCAA is made up of over 1,000 colleges across the United States and supports over 460,000 student athletes. The NCAA funds over 90 championships in 24 sports and awards over $3 billion in scholarships every year. However, many people argue that college athletes should be able to earn some portion of the money that they help to make. Therefore, my partner and I strongly negate the resolution that the NCAA should compensate student athletes any further than they already are. My opponent said that athletes put their health at risk. but according to the NCAA website, it provides benefits to its athletes such as insurance that help to cover their health. They also said that athletes have lower graduation rates, but on the NCAA website it says that 88% of student athletes are graduating with a degree, and about 8 out of 10 college athletes graduate with a bachelor's degree. Therefore, the graduation rates for student athletes is a lot higher than the national average. Even though some college athletes do not require the skills to pay for their respective degree, there are other options such as online schooling and internships and going back to college that they can earn a master's degree. My first assertion is that college athletes are already compensated through the scholarships that they are able to receive. At a Division I school, student athletes that play a selected variety of sports can receive full scholarships which cover tuition and room and board at the school. The scholarships that Division I athletes offer is a form of compensation for the athletes' hard work and success that they bring to the school, which supports them through their college career and even after. In some cases, the Division I school may pay for student athletes to finish their bachelor's or master's degree after they finish playing NCAA sports. According to the NCAA website, NCAA Divisions I and II schools provide more than $2.9 billion in athletic scholarships annually to more than 150,000 student athletes. If they are not able to receive an athletic scholarship, any student is able to benefit from academic scholarships by the NCAA financial aid programs, such as the NCAA Division I Student Athlete Opportunity Fund, and need-based aid, such as federal Pell Grants. My second assertion is allowing student athletes to be compensated will increase their greed, which will in turn hurt smaller schools in their division. By allowing student athletes to be paid will increase the greed in athletes and create bigger advantages for bigger schools with more money. If athletes are able to be compensated, schools may want to offer money to the athletes to persuade them into choosing that specific school. If they start to do this, bigger schools will have the opportunity to offer more money to athletes that they try to recruit compared to smaller schools. The athletes' incentive will change, making them choose colleges based on how much money they can make instead of which college is best for them. With athletes choosing bigger colleges that offer more money, schools who aren't able to offer as much money to athletes will be affected. The smaller schools will no longer have strong teams with successful athletes, hurting the overall competition in their division. Overall, my partner and I strongly negate the resolution that student athletes should earn compensation because they are already able to benefit from the athletic scholarships and other benefits that the NCAA is able to provide them. The National College Athletic Association provides many benefits to its student athletes, such as student assistance funds that help student athletes to afford flights home to see their families, and other funds that can cover stuff that they are not able to pay. If student athletes were able to be compensated, it might lead to schools offering more money to athletes, encouraging to pick schools based on how much money they can make instead of their education. Thank you.
That's all. Alright, so my opponent said student athletes would be targeted to be taken advantage of by recruiters, companies, and agents, and this would cause an issue in schools with higher profiles and deeper pockets that have huge advantages over smaller schools, but limits the guidelines could be established to protect college athletes without denying them the compensation that would be given for them for their image rights. Therefore, college athletes should be compensated fairly based on their image usage rights, as well as a standard set of compensation and/or funds that would be awarded in case of injury and/or percentage caps based on direct income earned. So my first assertion is college athletes should be compensated for the NCAA schools and companies using their likeness and image. My reasoning is NCAA schools make money off college athletes for their marketability and their performance. A prime example is Zion Williamson and Duke University. According to Money Incorporated, Duke University's income adds up with endorsements, merchandise, ticket sales, season passes, advertisements, and etc., ending in a total of $190 million profit after expenses going out to ESPN and Nike. None of the money goes towards the student athletes, including his teammates. As of 2018, ESPN is a major TV sports that live streams NCAA games, and they have shown that Zion Williamson is one of their top 3 most streamed players in the whole world. Proving again, a student athlete who is ineligible for compensation is making both Duke University and ESPN millions of dollars. Another example of how companies indirectly and are affected by college players is when Zion Williamson got injured in 2019. At that time, Nike released a new shoe, the Paul George 2.0, which he broke when he injured. And in the matter of hours after he broke the shoe, Nike stock dropped $1.12 billion in the matter of hours, according to adweek.com. And that's just because of the impact he has on the public image. My second assertion is college athletes should be released with amateur status and compensated for their performance. My reasoning is, today college athletes work full-time at their sport and are still considered amateur athletes competing at commitment levels that are considered a full-time job. NCAA guidelines state that college athletes are subject to putting in no more than 20 hours a week of countable hours. This does not include individual instruction of non-collegiate staff, competitions, non-athletic activities, or in the case March Madness, recruiting circuits, or voluntary activities according to the NCAA.org guidelines. These hours, when you consider studying, class time, traveling, personal training, are more than a full-time job that is considered 30 to 40 hours a week, depending upon the state. According to ValuePenguin.com, in 2017-2018, the average tuition cost for a private school is $46,000, and for Duke University it was $78,000. Not including traveling fees, most sports scholarships are not 100% covered by schools, so only top athletes will be covered when it comes to traveling and healthcare. By allowing college athletes to shed the amateur status, it would free up money for both college to give more scholarships and to compensate the athletes so they can cover additional expenses. My third assertion is, how does an amateur athlete recover from an injury that drains the bank? The student athlete takes all the risks. A small percentage of athletes will go pro, however, many get injured during college sports. Evidence of this is 90% of college athletes have a sports-related injury. 54% of those still play when they're injured, and 30% of those injuries are from overuse from the amount of hours they've had. And only 2% of all of them will go on to professional sports, and only 2% will be compensated for what they've been training their whole life to do. My concluding sentence is that the NCAA should allow college athletes to be compensated and declare them professional athletes.
I'm Logan, and I'm the second speaker for the opposition side. Our team strongly negates the resolution that athletes should be compensated more than they already are. So first I would like to refute what my opponent said about athletes being used in advertising and games without earning money from it. But even though the athletes' names and popularity have been used in advertising for different companies, the NCAA created advertising and promotional guidelines in which companies that choose to advertise their products have to follow in order to protect its athletes since September 2016. In their guidelines, it states that advertisements and other things associated with the NCAA events should be generally supportive of the NCAA's values and attributes, and or not be in conflict with the NCAA's missions and fundamental principles. Therefore, although there have been instances in the past where athletes' names and popularity were used in advertising and promotions, the NCAA has created better guidelines in which advertising companies are required to follow in order to protect its athletes. My first assertion actually refutes their second assertion. And so my first assertion is that athletes get paid more for their performance, and that this could lead to other players being greedy and starting going on strikes to make their pay or compensation higher. In 1939, some of the freshman football players at the University of Pittsburgh went on strike because of the pay gap between them and older players. The players didn't think that it was fair that some of the players were getting paid more than them, and this could happen in the NCAA if athletes are getting paid more or compensated. My second assertion is that the money made from the athletic department is used for scholarship money for that university's athletes. The more money the schools make on athletics, the more money can be used for scholarships and compensation for athletes. Some scholarships can cover their education and room and board and course-related books. If athletes were being paid, the amount of money used for scholarships would go down because schools would have to pay the athlete to use their image on posters and t-shirts. For some players, this would cause the athletes themselves to pay for all of the costs of going to that university because some of the money would be used to pay athletes to use their image. How much money is actually being used for scholarships? In the 2015 to 2016 year, Ohio State University was able to spend $19.2 million on scholarships because of the money earned the year before on sporting events. 715 out of 1,015 athletes received partial or full ride scholarships that year. That is about 70% of athletes are compensated because of the profit the school made off of its athletics. If schools start paying college athletes, this would cause the scholarship money to go down because of the new expenses. Only some of the best or more experienced athletes would benefit while the rest suffer. My third assertion is that if athletes were allowed to be paid for their athletic performance, it would increase the program's expenses without increasing their revenue. For example, if athletic departments were to compensate athletes through payments and like scholarships, the athletic department wouldn't be able to get money from the university's financial aid program to pay their athletes. When a player receives compensation in the form of a scholarship or grant and aid, the athletic department could rely on the university's financial aid to transfer a Pell Grant worth up to about $5,000 per year to a player's package if the student athlete has demonstrated financial aid. Overall, if there are 100 grant and aid recipients, it could save the athletic department about $500,000 per year on funding and financial aid packages. Overall, me and my partner strongly negate the statement that athletes should be compensated more than they already are because not paying athletes can benefit more people than just the athletes themselves. Thank you.
Today, you've heard many arguments for and against student athletes being compensated, but it all comes down to these points. Compensating student athletes would take away the privilege of playing at a collegiate level, turning college athletics into a business. It would take away the purity of college athletics and turning athletes to play for money instead of for the love of the game. College athletes are already compensated through scholarships and benefits that the NCAA provides to sports. Not only are student athletes able to receive both academic and athletic scholarships to help pay for college, they also receive benefits from the NCAA such as financial assistance, insurance, and opportunities to compete in competitions across the country. Who would be affected if athletes were allowed to be compensated? If athletes were allowed to be compensated, only certain athletes would benefit from this. How would athletes who play sports that don't bring in as much attention like men's basketball do be able to earn compensation? It would cost the colleges a lot more money than they already do paying for scholarships for the athletes. There is a high probability that other states across the United States will start to attempt to pass a bill that allows college athletes to earn compensation for their athletic performance. Back in September, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill allowing student athletes to be compensated. Since then, other states across the country are following California's lead, with legislators attempting to introduce similar bills in states like South Carolina, Washington, and Colorado. If rules that the NCAA has set for college athletes stay the same, athletes will continue to benefit from opportunities that NCAA and their colleges are able to provide its athletes long term. For many years, the NCAA has been able to provide its student athletes with billions of dollars in scholarships and financial aid programs, creating the support that athletes are able to have by being part of the NCAA. If the rules stay the same and college athletes are treated as amateurs, athletes will continue to succeed in college athletics and receive the benefits that the NCAA and its colleges provide its athletes for years to come. If athletes were allowed to be compensated, it would ruin the purity of college athletics and turn college athletics into a business. It would cause problems with certain athletes making more money than others and take away the money athletic departments make that's used for college scholarships. Therefore, my partner and I strongly negate the resolution that college athletes should be allowed to be compensated. Thank you.
Okay. Is this good? Finally, my opponent said the NCAA has guidelines that keep athletes from making money off advertisements. But labeling college athletes as an amateur is an antiquated policy. Today's college athletes work full-time at their sport, competing at commitment levels that are considered a full-time job. Training, conditioning, practice, and regular season along with educational studies is in some cases harder than playing professionally. especially when you're not being compensated but are expected to perform at a professional level. Therefore, due to this stringent regimen and high-risk environment, college athletes should be considered professional. And NBA players are compensated for acts, so why can't college athletes be? Throughout history, student athletes have created many benefits for companies and colleges alike. We can clearly see this through just two assertions as it shows the sacrifice and results of an athlete. The first is that student athletes should be compensated for their image. While great athletes such as Zion Williamson produce the majority of the money for big companies like Nike and ESPN and Under Armour and Puma, only 0.4% of the money is used to support the athletes. Along with this, many of the services are so reliant on his participation that during his absence, Nike stock dropped 0.8%. That's over $1.12 million loss. To reduce such revenue, these student athletes will need to put almost all their time and effort into the sport. This leads us to our second assertion, which is college athletes should be released on amateur status and compensated for their performance. Every day, athletes put in 6 hours of the day purely dedicated for the sport. This includes school and traveling, which then leaves the athlete with only a few hours for studying and personal use. With all this time being put in, the athletes are not paid and only gain a little of what they deserve. In total, there are over 460,000 student athletes that are not compensated. This compromises each and every one of their lives, creating a more successful and sustainable future. According to the NCAA, 55% of the athletes feel a lack of support and mentorship during their transition, as there is a high probability that compensation will lower this percentage by a great amount. Along with that, 12% of the student athletes are in debt. This rate may also be lowered greatly as the athlete may be able to support themselves. Some of the athletes originate from poor families, as this money gives them the opportunity to support them. Although this resolution may not be passed, there is a high probability that it will pass, as states such as California has already taken it into action. A couple of months ago, the governor of California passed a Fair Pay to Play Act bill. This allows student athletes to have endorsement and will take into effect on January 1st, 2023. New York and Florida have also considered this bill. According to the CNBC News, the Senator of New York, Kevin Parker, proposed a bill that calls for the NCAA to put aside 15% of all college sports-related revenue for student athletes. The governor of Florida agrees in backing up New York, making a similar legislation. In the future, this bill may also be passed among many other states, as top athletes will be more attracted to the colleges that will allow them to be compensated. Compensating the student athletes has both an immediate and long-term effect. In giving the athletes money, the athletes are able to hone their athletic ability and academic skills while not worrying about having to put food on the table. Preparing them to enter the workforce after college, either as a professional athlete or a productive member of society. In a broader level, the economy may improve as some people who would have otherwise been on welfare are now income-producing members of society. In conclusion, not compensating student athletes is a challenge for many, as they are forced to make the choice between working for an income or an education. For example, my grandfather declined a full scholarship to play college football to support his family instead. In the end, the people who really need the income are not able to take advantage of the current scholarship, despite having tremendous athletic ability and academic potential. Compensating eligible athletes has the potential to take college sports and individuals to another level, on the field, in the workforce, and for the overall economy, touching the lives of all socioeconomic levels.